Hi everybody, my name is Adnan and this is my first tutorial video where I'm going to explain you on how to make a Visual Studio C file. Um, I hope you learned something from it. Just to start off, first what you want to do is start off your Microsoft Visual Studio. I have Microsoft Visual C++, which is exactly the same as Studio. It's just a part of Visual Studio. So whatever I'm going to do over here should apply to Microsoft Visual Studio that you have at home or at school or something. So you're gonna get a start page as soon as your Microsoft Visual opens up, and if you want, you can just click on New Project right here. But for people who do not get the start page, because that happens sometimes, you disable it by mistake or something, you want to go to File, you want to go to New, and then you want to go to Project. So File, New Project, okay? Go to File, then New, and then Project. Short form is Control-Shift-N, but you don't have to worry about that. So what you want to select under here, you're probably going to have a lot more options under Install Templates. So in our case, we just want the Visual C++. So regardless of how much you have over here, don't worry about it. You only want Visual C++. That's it. So it might be off like this. It might be on sometime else. However it is, just go to Visual C++, click on it so that it opens up, and then look for Win32. Now, you might have problems running into it, but you want to get into Win32 under Microsoft, under Visual C++. If you have a 64-bit computer, then you might have Win64, but I'm not sure about that. So you go to Win32, and now you want to know if you want to open up a Win32 project or a Win32 console application. Always open Win32 project for us. Win32 project is the one that we're going to be working with in these tutorial videos. So you click on Win32 project. Now, as you can probably see, it does not let you press OK. And even if you double click on here, it's going to throw a warning at you. What this is asking for is a unique name for your project, because it does not want to every time store a project that you can't find and run into problems with, waste memory and all that sorts of stuff. So what you want to do is enter a name. Since I'm putting in a tutorial video, I'm just going to name it tutorial 1. As you can probably see, the solution name is the same as the name. This means nothing for our reasons at the moment because we're not going to understand it, but just so you know, the solution name is the same as the name, because the solution file is based on the real file that we're going to be writing the code for. It might not make any sense right now, but don't worry about it. So the location, you can put in any location you want. You go to browse and you put in whatever you want. So let's say you're at desktop, and what I want to do is I want to put it under YouTube video so that I can always find it whenever I want to go back for it. So I go under documents, I go under course notes. I have a new folder that I made specifically for this, and it's called C Programming YouTube Tutorials. So I double click on there, and now I'm in that folder. Now I want to select that folder so that my file gets installed, gets saved over there every time I work on it. So I press select folder. That's what it comes down over here. It's in documents, course notes, C Programming YouTube Tutorial. Everything seems okay. We have a name in there. It's a Win32 project. Everything looks okay. So you can go ahead and press OK. Now, as soon as you press OK, Win32 application wizard and your name for your file comes up. Never press finish on it. This is probably one of the main problems that people run into when they start programming, is because they don't care about what they're doing. They just go finish, next, finish. And that doesn't work. It doesn't work that way, because whatever I'm going to teach you is going to be based on this right here. So what you want to do is do next, and you want to put in console application, not Windows application, not DLL, not static library. You want to put in console application. As soon as you click on console application, you want to do empty project. You do not want a pre-compiled header. That's not for us. So you do an empty project and you make it a console application. The easiest way I remember it is this image right here. As soon as I see this blackness and the C colon and so on, I know that this is what I want. So I do console application, I do empty project, and I do finish. Now we have a place for our files that we're going to make to be stored at, or we have a basic project. So right now, as of now, you cannot write a code because there's no file to write the code on. So you run into problems like, where should I make my file? Under header files, under resources files, under source files. We do not care about header files for now. We do not care about resource files for now. What we care about is source files. That's where we're going to write our code. That's where the source code is going to be. So you right click over here, you do add, and you do new item. Short form for that is Control-Shift-A, or you can do just this. So we do Control-Shift-A. As soon as we click it, this comes up. So as you can see, there's a lot of things, a lot of forms that come up that you have to fill in correctly in order for the application to work. So for us, it's for you, it might have, again, a lot of things on the left side. Don't worry about it. Always look for Visual C++. It might be closed, it might be open. Just click on the small arrow, it opens up. Now, there's 5 options over here. To just cut it down a little bit, we're coding right now. We're programming and we're writing a code. So we have to click on code, and it cuts down a little bit of my choices. Now it gives me 3 choices. There's a C++ file, a header file, and a component class. Since we are writing a C code, we do not have any of that sort of a thing there. There's no .c over there, which is the extension for a C file. So in our purpose, we just select the first one, which is a C++ file. And the reason to do that is mainly because C++ follows the same rules as a C program. Even though they're 2 different programming languages, they're compiled the same way. So we can use the C++ file format to write a C code. So you click on that, and then you want to enter a name. So the name for the file, again for me, I'm just going to name it tutorial1. And then you got to remember this part. As soon as you write in tutorial1, you got to put in a .c by yourself. So you select, even though you selected a .cpp extension, you want to make it a .c file. And the reason that you want to do that is because you want to tell the computer that even though I'm using a .cpp file, this is a .c file. This is a file that should be read like a C programming file and not like a C++ programming file. So you put in tutorial.c and you do add. Oh, and you know how you see the location over here? Do not worry about it. Since we already made a project and we're putting this file under the source files in that project, it's automatically going to be saved under that tutorial project, which is where you saved it from before. So I saved it in C programming YouTube tutorials. So my file is going to be right over there. So location right here, and I do add, and there it is. Before I go any further, I just want to show you where this thing gets saved, where your .c file is, where your project is. So I go over here, I go into my documents. So I want to get into my course notes because that's where my file is. C programming YouTube tutorials, that's the folder I chose. So I click on that. This tutorial 1, it wasn't there before, but it came up now because this tutorial 1 is my project file. That there is my project file. I press enter on it. There's a bunch of stuff that it's added in there, and you can see that there's a tutorial 1 file right here. It's 899 bytes. There's nothing in there because we haven't really put anything in there, and I just made it. There's so this right here, the tutorial 1, that's the solution file. Okay, and you can probably see as soon as I put my cursor on top, you can see the type. It says Microsoft Visual Studio Solution. That the solution name is the same as the project name. Remember? I hope you do. So under tutorial 1 folder right here, there's a C. Oh, well, we just made that, right? So I put my cursor on top, and you can see that the type is C source. The size is 0 bytes because I put nothing in that file right now. And that is the file that corresponds to this right here. So I hope you understand what I mean by putting in a location for your file, because you always want to go back to it. You want to reuse your codes. At some point, you're going to always want to reuse your code. You don't want to keep writing new codes if you've already written it before. So that's why you got to make sure that you remember where the location is. And in our case, this is where the location is. That's where it gets saved. As soon as I save it, that's what's going to happen over there. So just a basic program. It might seem like it's too big right now and there's too many words in there, but don't worry about it. I'm going to explain it later. But for our cases, this is the first program. And what I would ask you to do is just follow along. So watch the video once, watch it throughout, and then watch the video again, but follow what I did. And pause the video after every bit and try and do the same thing that I'm doing right now. And this will help you get better at programming. Programming can never be learned by watching videos. You need to practice programming. The more you practice, the better you're gonna be at it. And programming is basically like math. The more you practice math, the better you get it. Same with programming. The more you practice programming, the better you're gonna get at it. So let's just start off a small code. We just copy what I'm putting in right now. You put an include, and you want to add a standard library.h, and you want to include standard input output.h. Just copy the characters that I put in over there and you should be fine. So what this include, now let me tell you what the include statement is. What this include statement actually is just adding libraries. The standard library.h is a header file. The standard IO is also a header file, and they're pre-installed in Microsoft Visual Studio. So we just have to call those functions in. So this is include standard library, include standard input output.h, and they're both in there. Now you want to make a function. So if you don't understand what a function is right now, don't worry about it, but just follow the steps. Int main void and curly brackets, open and closed. So let me just increase this to 200 so that it's clear for you to see. So it's include standard library.h, include standard input output.h, int main void. 3 words right here. Let me explain you what they mean. This int is the type. This is the type of the function that you're going to write. It is an integer function. It's going to return type an int. Don't worry about it if it doesn't make any sense right now, but remember, every time you're going to make a function, it's going to have int. This main right here, this is the keyword, and this is also the name of your function. The name of the function is main, and what this main means is that this is where the program is going to start. So let's say you have a lot more source files. Let's say you have 3 source files, tutorial 2, tutorial 3, tutorial 4. And you have another main function in any of those source files, your program is going to crash. It's not going to work. So if you have a tutorial 2.c and you put that in there, your program is going to crash. So you want only one main function per project, okay? So if you're making a new project, if you want another main function, make a new project. If you want another main function, you gotta comment this one out, which I'll talk about later, but you want to comment this function out and make it so that you only have one main function. This void right here means nothing. These brackets, inside them contains the parameters for a function. Since we do not have any parameters for the function, we just put in void. You cannot put anything in there, but I put in a void over there just because because I can just always look at it and see, okay, yeah, it's a void. I don't have to put anything in there. I'm okay. I don't have to look at anything. Plus, it colors it up in blue, which makes it look good. So anyways, now you have the basic program set up. Just follow the steps. Print f hello world semicolon system pause and return 0. So I just put in 3 statements. Print f hello world system pause return 0. So right now it might seem complicated, but I'll break it down to you right now. This semicolon is the last character in every line. It has to be the last character in every line. It works as a full stop. Okay, so whenever you end a sentence in English, you put in a period. But whenever you end a sentence in programming, in C programming, you put in a semicolon. So as soon as you put that semicolon, this becomes one statement. When you do not put that in there, it gives you an error. as you can see, it's underlined system. You put your cursor on top and it says, I expect something but before this. So you put that over there and it goes away. So printf hello world. The hello world has to be inside quotations so that it prints it out on the screen. We'll talk about that in the next tutorial video. System pause is just so that this thing pauses when hello world comes up, because if you don't have that, the screen shuts off. Again, I'll talk about this in the next video. This is just your first program, so just get used to it. Return 0 is the return type for the function. Again, it might not make sense right now, but don't worry about it. Just follow these steps so that you can create your first program. I'll talk about all of this in the later videos, okay? So we go to build and you do build solution. Right here is where it built the solution. It says the build 1 succeeded. So we only built it once and it says 1 and succeeded. So that means that this was successful. There were no errors in there and it compiled fine. Just to go back on what this does is it's saved, so it should have something in there. So we go back and I just want to show you that under C programming, now we have 122 bytes, which means we have added something in there, and that should show you something is happening. Maybe right, maybe wrong, but I'm pretty sure it's right so far. And after that, you want to do debug and start debugging. And there you go. That's your first program right in front of you. Hello world, press any key to continue. So this hello world comes from the printf statement that you put in right here. Printf hello world, that's printed right there. System pause is the press any key to continue statement. This system pause comes in from the standard library.h. This printf is included in the standard input output.h. If you do not have the included statements in there, your program will not work, okay? So just press any key to enter and continue, and you did. It closes up. You can run it from over here, which is the small start debugging arrow right beside your debugging option in solution configuration. So you just click on that and it's going to run your program and you can close it. So that's pretty much it. If this does not make sense to you right now, do not worry about it. I'm a little rusty right now. It's my first tutorial video, but I hope you guys keep following me. If you have any other questions, write it in the comment section and I'm going to make sure that I answer back. And yeah, have a great day and thank you. Bye-bye.